welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an ankle surgery update video. That's kind of a mouthful, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, first off, I am almost over all my congestion. If you saw my last unboxing video, I think that was the video that will have come out right before this. I had been sick for a few weeks, which I'll talk about more today, but I still, like, for me to get rid of congestion, it just takes a really long time. So, so if I still sound really nasally and congested or end up having a cough or something, that is why, is because of that. So, and then also I just wanted to mention, I'm not gonna cover everything in this video about why I had ankle surgery. I already made a video about that. I'll touch on it maybe just a little bit right at the beginning, but I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail since I don't wanna be repetitive or boring. I'm just gonna kind of give updates from ankle surgery on. And some of these, like a lot of these updates will be on Instagram. I might elaborate a little bit more here than I did on Instagram. So if you saw stuff on Instagram, this also might be repetitive. I would recommend, picking a spot in your house to clean or make dinner or do something and just listen to me, because I'm just gonna sit here and talk to you for a few minutes, probably more than a few minutes, about my whole ankle surgery experience thus far. I'm still in a boot, so we are not done, but it has been almost 6 weeks, so I thought I'd just give an update of where we are so far. All right, so just a quick recap. I had ankle surgery in high school from a really bad ankle sprain. And so that one went pretty well. I don't know everything they did since I was so young, but then just years of wear and tear, I was like, okay, we're already at our out-of-pocket max because I had a baby last August and our insurance starts over in July, so it's about to start over. And so I wanted to get surgery done before that. And when we went to see the doctor and everything for my ankle, it was bad. Like, I knew it was gonna be bad, but it was worse than I thought it was gonna be. And so anyways, there was bone spurs, there was a tear down the center of one of the ligaments, there was one of the ligaments they couldn't find, there's no cartilage on the front part of my ankle, like under the talus, there's like just all the things you can imagine. So the goal was basically ankle reconstruction surgery, besides like minus giving me like a prosthetic ankle bone type situation. We didn't do that. Maybe down the road we'll do that, but that's not my plan right now. Hopefully this will be enough. So anyways, that was what we did. That's what the surgery was. And so I went in for surgery really early in the morning, which I was grateful for, because fasting makes me very, very sick. And so the longer I fast, the worse that I feel. And the more days it takes me to recover and feel better and start eating normally again. And so in my surgery, I had to be there at like 6:45, I think, in the morning. And it was only a few minutes away from our house, which was amazing. So my husband just took me, dropped me off. I think all my kids, even the baby, were still asleep when we left. So we just left him here and he dropped me off real quick, made sure everything was good, that I was in the right place. And then he came home, and it was really quick getting me all ready and prepped. I hate getting IVs. Like, I feel like the worst part, not the worst part of surgery, but it is pretty darn close, especially like going into surgery. I just hate it so much. It went pretty well, like got it in the first time, didn't blow the vein or anything like that, so that was good. And then I was quickly whisked away to surgery, and they did, I gotta remember all the terms for things since it's been, like I said, it's almost been 6 weeks, so I'm like, what is everything called? Trying to wake up my brain. So they did a nerve block from my knee down, so that for the first basically 24 hours I wouldn't feel pain. The anesthesiologist said it kind of depends on the person. Like those that have faster metabolisms, it might go away faster. Everything metabolizes much faster, so the block doesn't last as long as it might on someone else. I know there's different nerve blocks. I have a friend that her husband had one for his Achilles tendon, and they took it out at home. So which I would have hated doing. So I was grateful for that I didn't have to do that. But this was just shots. They just gave me some shots. One of them in a nerve, like on the under part, I think, of my knee, and then one on the top. And so they did that right before I fell asleep. They had given me something to kind of like start to calm me down, but not put me out all the way. And then I remember them doing the top one, like putting the needle in, because that one stung way more than the underneath my knee. And then I woke up. Surgery's weird because then all of a sudden I'm just starting to wake up. And the anesthesiologist stopped by after I was a little bit more coherent, and he's like, yeah, 4 hours is a long surgery. I was like, 4 hours? It was planned for 2 to 3 hours. It was 4. And later on, when I talked to the doctor about it, he said that, so I had old hardware in my foot. I didn't bring it in here to show you. I should have. It's in one of my books. I'm using it as a bookmark because it's in like a little protector type situation. And so I just use it, and it's this teeniest little screw looking like thing. It's so hard to see. It's so small. And I always thought it was way bigger. Like, he handed that to me. I was like, wow, that's so little. But that took a really long time, he said, to get out, which is like, it's so small and caused such a headache. And then also just the cleanup. There was just, they were cleaning up all the bone spurs, not spears. And then all just the extra, there was floating bone. There was just a bunch of gunk basically to have to clean up. So all of that took just longer. And then there was also, I guess, some muscle. I don't know if it's coming in from the calf. Again, I don't know anything medical really, but it grew down into my like tendons, because that happens, I guess, a lot when there's injuries. Everything's compensating, not where it's exactly supposed to be. And so they took that out, cauterized it, like to cut off the muscle that wasn't supposed to be there, tightened up all the ligaments, and put some more anchors. There's an anchor now that goes from one side of my ankle to the other side. If I remember, I'll post some pictures. There's pictures. I don't think I've actually made a post on Instagram, but under the ankle surgery highlight, there's pictures in there too. But there's incisions on both sides of my ankle. And so there's an anchor that goes from one side, like with a wire situation, to the other side. And so it keeps my ankle from tilting or like tipping and stuff, because it catches, and pulls on the other side so it won't roll. And then they tighten up a whole bunch of other ligaments and things like that. So that was surgery, it was successful. The only thing that he couldn't do, he talked about doing microfractures in my bone, and to help create a little bit of cartilage, because the bleeding will create some sort of extra cushion for a while and help with the cartilage right there. It doesn't like regrow or anything, because you can't do that, but it will at least help with some cushioning. And he couldn't do that because there was no cartilage. Like, I guess it's just to kind of spot clean, basically. If there's teeny little spots that they need to do it, they can do it. But when it's the whole front part of my ankle, underneath there is no cartilage. And so we couldn't do any of that at all, which we basically knew going in from the MRIs and x-rays that there just wasn't gonna be much to work with. He was hoping he could do something, but again, it was like, we already knew basically he wouldn't be able to. And so it wasn't horribly disappointing, but it was still like, yeah, it's bad. And so the other, like, tightening everything up will hopefully keep everything else and the other cartilage that is still there from going away faster, right? It'll keep it hopefully stronger and last longer than it would have if it wasn't functioning properly, if all the wear and tear was still going on, the bone spurs, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the hope there, that it will keep the cartilage I have as safe as possible for as long as possible. And so the good thing though, with not doing the microfractures, is I was able to be weight bearing faster. Like, from my 2-week appointment, was able to use my foot for just like balancing a little bit, nothing crazy, but just a little bit, kind of like a kickstand almost, and that kind of stuff. And so I got a little bit more used to being on my foot. So then once I was full on weight bearing after 4 weeks, it wasn't too bad. So anyways, that was good news. It would have taken longer since if they're doing stuff in bone, it takes longer to heal. So good news, bad news. So he did that. And then the first week, I just laid on the couch because that was what I was supposed to do. And you know, you don't feel great anyways. You're pumped full of meds. My block, the nerve block, wore off about 24 hours later. And so I had some stronger medicine for the first few days. And then I was fine. My pain tolerance is pretty high and I usually don't need pain meds for very long. So I had surgery Monday. By Thursday, I was off of any like narcotic pain medicine. And you know, by the weekend I was like not taking anything at all, basically. And then so yes, I laid on the couch, my foot up in the air. I slept on the couch. I really didn't even go upstairs at all for that first week. I did take a shower one time, which is an adventure of itself. The best way to do it, if there's a best way, is to sit in the tub. I don't have a tub in my shower. I just was showering in my kid's shower because then my foot can hang over the edge. There was one time we have a shower bench. So I tried to sit on that in the shower, but I was so worried about water going down my splint that I feel like it made it harder. So after that, when I showered, I would just sit down into the tub and my leg would just be like draped over the side and stuff. And it was fun. It was super fun. And then after 2 weeks, when the stitches came out, I was able to actually get it wet and stuff. It didn't necessarily make showering much easier. You know, I could now bring my foot in and I could sit on the bench. You know, I could put in our little seat that I had bought on Amazon and I could sit on that. And then after a while, I stopped showering in the kid's shower because it was just a pain to have to bring all my stuff over there. And I can't leave it there because my toddler will get into it and stuff. So our shower, we just have like a big walk-in shower, which I love, but it's not very convenient for something like this. And so then I just now slide into our shower because I still can't stand up in a shower. And so I'm very much looking forward to normal showering again. It's still not something that I am even really close to doing. It'll probably still be another month or so, maybe more, before I'm sturdy enough on my foot without any brace. That's the problem, right? I can't have like a boot or a brace or anything like that. So it makes it really hard to stand up in the shower. So that's where we're at with that. So I did take a shower and it took all of my energy to do that first week, just because going upstairs is very hard, especially when you're pumped full of drugs, your body's healing, all this stuff, like you're just exhausted. And then the next week, my husband left with my 2 middle kids to Florida for my niece's baptism. And this had been planned for a while. And so this wasn't like a surprise thing or anything like that, but it was still like, is everything gonna be okay? So I had surgery Monday and he left like a week and a half later. It was basically 10 days and he was gone for 6 days. And so that was an adventure. My mom did help for a couple days. She came up, she lives over an hour away. So she came up for a couple days and helped out with everything. And so my older kids took my babies upstairs to bed, all the things. Sorry, I'm gonna cough on you. Okay, I think we're okay. Again, like I said, my throat is still a little bit tingly. We're still recovering from being sick. So my big kids helped so much. They had to carry my baby around everywhere because I couldn't do it. I can do it a little bit on the knee scooter, but other than that, I couldn't. And so they took care of everything and it was super nice. And then while my husband was still gone is when I got my stitches out, and that wasn't bad. I was dreading it actually because the first time I got my stitches out 20 years ago, like that's the last time I think I had like stitches you had to have removed. You know, all the rest have been like, it's either glue or dissolvable ones or something like that. This is the first time I've had stitches you have to go back in and get them taken out. And I just remember it being awful because I just like, they had to tug on it. Like it was just so hard to get them out and I hated that feeling. Like doctors type stuff just makes me so sick and I just hate it. And so I wasn't looking forward to it, but it actually went so well, especially considering that there's so many stitches because they had incision on one side, incision on the other, and then there was the scope as well. So they had 2 spots from where the scope was. And it was good. everything went pretty good. And that's when I got into a boot. And so then I was able to shower and all that kind of stuff and have a little bit more freedom, and like take the boot off and lay down and stuff. I was still very careful and didn't want to do it when my kids were around and could jump on me or something. And so even sleeping, I was still supposed to wear the boot for like the next 2 weeks, which I basically did until the final few days of those 2 weeks, mostly because I was allergic to something. My skin is so sensitive to things, and it always has been very sensitive to things and weird combinations or just times of year. Like, it's not predictable, and it's like, it can be the cleanest things, like the cleanest brands, and I still will just break out in hives depending on the combinations, or if I did it right after I shaved, or right after I got out of the shower, or right after I was in a swimming pool, like weird things. Okay, my skin just it freaks out. And so this one though, I think was from the glue, because when they took out the stitches, they put like liquid Band-Aid, which I have used before and not had a problem. They put that on the sides of my incisions so the steri strips would stay a little bit better. And that's where all the bubbles for all the breakout stuff was going on, was right around where that glue would have been, but it took several days for it to do anything. So I had stitches out Tuesday, and it wasn't even until Sunday that I really started breaking out in hives. And then my whole leg was covered in hives. They started to spread to like my arms and my other leg, and my foot was humongous. It was swollen and all the things. So I called or I texted one of my neighbors who works at the office. She's a nurse and she was in allergy medicine before she worked at the podiatrist. And so she was like, okay, take this and take this. And, everything has cleared up. I'm still taking allergy medicine because my skin is still freaking out just a little bit, very minorly. But anyway, that was super fun. And while that was happening, my husband had come home. One of my daughter that was with him had a cold or a cough, probably either from traveling or from being around so many people. I'm not really sure. And so then that spread. This that I'm still trying to get over, and it's been over 2 weeks. So it's been a whole thing. So that was fun. But so I just end up laying on the couch again. I felt like I was starting after the first week after surgery. I was like starting to actually function a little bit and do things. And then all of a sudden I'm like now back on the couch again. My leg is on fire because it's swollen huge. And I'm now getting a cold and so tired. Like, it was just, like the next 2 weeks were kind of all that mess and stuff. So super fun times here. And so then I wasn't really doing anything. And I went back to the doctor 2 more weeks after they took out the stitches. And now it's 4 weeks after surgery. So I was able to start weight bearing with crutches and stuff. So that's what has been going on. And then I started physical therapy too. So I went to the doctor on Tuesday. By Friday I was in physical therapy, and it's been just a week. Like, I've gone to 4 times and still have lots more to go. When my ankle doesn't move very well. And when I first started physical therapy, it didn't really move at all. You do ankle ABCs to help practice mobility, so you're like spelling, going through the ABCs. And my ankle, like maybe my toes would move a little bit. It's getting better. Like, it's still not a great range of motion, but it is getting better. I'm supposed to do those every single day. I have some exercises that I do every day, and then I go to physical therapy 3 times a week for 3 weeks, and then 2 times a week for 5 weeks. So it's an 8-week program, going lots. But again, your ankle is so important. It's holding up your whole body, and it needs to be able to function properly, or else there's just so many problems. And right now it's not moving super well. And so it just takes a long time, which is frustrating. You just want weight bearing. Okay, great. We're just gonna go. We're just fine. Everything's good. But, it hasn't moved in weeks. And then they tightened all the ligaments up and stuff. So everything has to be stretched back out, needs to learn to fire all those nerves again. So like my brain trying to get my foot to move, all the different things. So it's just a lot of work and it's gonna take a lot of time and patience, but I should hopefully be back in a normal shoe in maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. That's kind of the goal. And then I'll still, you know, be going to physical therapy. So right now I'm in a boot, out in a boot. And so that's fine. Like I can take it on and off, which is nice. I'm not walking on a bare foot. You know, I have to have the boot on. If I don't have the boot on, then I'm usually on my knee scooter. And the exciting news right now is that I don't have a crutch. I don't have a knee scooter by me or anything. Like I have started walking independently. It's very hard, I'm very slow. There is no pain though, which is what they look for, and there isn't any pain. So I'll use one crutch to go up the stairs, and a few other times if I get tired, I can only go so long with like walking. It's really hard. I don't have quite the endurance for it. You know, my ankle is not quite there to walk for long periods of time. So even this morning working in my kitchen for a few hours, like I was exhausted and need to sit down, which is, I'll try to get a whole bunch of stuff done in the morning and then usually relax and work on my computer or something in the afternoon while my littles are sleeping. And it's just been great. Like I have felt myself coming back to life a little bit because I'm more independent and I can do things, and I'm like, oh, I can easily go outside and like say hi and do stuff with my kids. And then I can like be in the kitchen and not feel miserable. Like even being on the knee scooter in the kitchen, I think just being on my knee that much was just uncomfortable. And so just being able to move around has been so great. Like you just don't even appreciate how great it is until you can't do it. And I'm just so grateful to be able to move around, even if it's not completely 100%. It's never gonna be 100% because my ankle's like 1,000 years old, but it'll at least be better. But I'm just so grateful to be able to move around right now and for what I've accomplished so far. All right, so I think that's basically all for right now. If you have questions or anything you want me to like more specifically address, put it down in the comments so that I will know, either in a next video or maybe on Instagram. I'm not really sure, a future Q&A, just a general Q&A type situation. But I just wanted to mention 2 things I'm really looking forward to. I already mentioned one of them is a normal showering because it's just a pain. And then the second thing is exercising. I did take a walk like around, we live on a loop, a pretty small loop, but it's still on hills. And I pushed the stroller and that was a workout with one crutch. But it felt so good to actually move, and I'm like getting close to 5,000 steps, which for weeks it was under 1,000. So I'm like, it's just great. I just feel so excited that I'm getting in some sort of movement, and I might actually start doing some lifting just on my upper body because I can sit down and do that or lay on the ground or something. So I might actually start to do that to try to, again, feel like I'm exercising, but I'm just excited to be just able to normally move and exercise because I just love that so much. And I feel like it helps me as a mom to just be a better mom, to be able to focus more, to be able to function better, not be as frustrated. And if I'm having a hard day, I can go outside and walk and I just feel so much better. So anyway, those are 2 of the things that I am really looking forward to being able to do, is showering and exercising normally. That will be so great. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it gave you something to listen to while you were doing some chores or something around the house. If you enjoy these types of videos, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.